I now have the great honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Mr. Arturo Condo. He is the president of the Earth University in Costa Rica. This is a global institution focused on training world leaders in sustainable development and positive food systems. He holds a doctorate degree from Harvard Business School in business strategy and competitiveness, and also an MBA from INCAE Business School. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Condo.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Costa Rica. Bienvenidos a Costa Rica. I'm not Costa Rican, but I've been living here for 20 years, and I'm really appreciative for that. Very thankful for being here. Thanks, first of all, for the invitation. Of course, I'm a big coffee drinker. Being here, I learned to drink coffee here in Costa Rica. I wasn't a coffee drinker before that. And you lead an incredible part of human activity. It's not only an economic activity, as has already been said. So Noelia asked me, put some context. And I want to share with you is a very personal, individual, it's our organization's take on what we're doing, what we've done, and may give you context for you as well. And so what I'd like to talk about is food. The future of food, and it doesn't get any more personal than that. We eat several times a day. I mean, if you're in intermittent fasting, and that, well, maybe a couple times a day, whatever. We Latin Americans in particular, we gather around food a lot. You know, when we want to appreciate our love, our care, we cook for people. Well, I don't, but people who know how to cook do. And so it doesn't get more personal than that. And we are facing a big challenge that I think over the history of humankind, we have not so far faced. The good thing, and one that I want to emphasize, is that concept of food systems. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's crucial. I was looking at coffee statistics. I've been close to the coffee industry over the past couple of decades. I was at INCAE Business School before. We worked in competitiveness and understanding different industries, different sectors. Coffee is a big part of Central America for sure. Latin America too. And it's interesting because I could not find, I was updating myself a few days ago, and I was browsing different sites, and I couldn't find one that took a food systems approach to coffee. Not one. I found some sites that were focused on consumption, so some very few on production, and of course you're here because you understand, and because you understand the sources are important, who grows the coffee we drink or the food we eat. But we're taking that new food systems approach now more effectively than before. So that's a great starting point. Now, the challenge is that the food systems, now that we look at them as systems, are not working as we need them to. Let me share with you four challenges. One, growth, right? So supposedly, and I don't know how they would know that, but supposedly in 5 days, November 15, the 8th billion living human will be born. So we'll be 8 billion people on November 15. How do they know that? I have no clue. And I know some math, but that's okay. The point is November 2020 will be 8 billion people on the planet. My 9-year-old the other day, we were talking about stuff. There have been like more than 100 billion humans over our 300,000-year existence on this planet. But this is the largest number that has ever been alive at the same time. 8 billion. By 2050, the projection is about 10, right? And that means more food, the need for more food, right? Different estimates, up to 50% more. That's not minor. That's definitely not minor, right? And one extra thing, that many people still don't have enough food on their plates every day. And of course, I'm not trying to paint a doomsday scenario of any sort. No, this is just the reality. It's like when we go to the doctor, just give it to us straight so that we can do something about, or not, but at least be clear of where we stand. So malnutrition is a huge thing, and it's not only not enough calories, which almost 1 billion people don't have every day, but it's not the right calories. That's another 2 billion more. So growth, that's one. Two, poverty. And this is very important, and I know again, when I was at INCAE and now at Earth, We are working with the coffee industry in Guatemala, with the coffee producers, should I say, in Guatemala and Costa Rica, with some. We're starting, it's a new thing, it's a relatively new thing. But when you, and I know you know this, but poverty in the world, especially extreme poverty, is concentrated in rural areas, and most of the people living in extreme poverty are farmers. So, which is the ultimate irony and the ultimate injustice, right? Because the people producing our food tend to live in poverty and tend to not have enough calories. And I think this is an ironic laugh, you know, because it's like, it's hard to, for me, it's hard to accept. But it's a reality, and so and development, or you know, the aspiration for a better human society needs to solve this, right? And so that's the second, and it's around food, because again, many of them are food producers. I have to also say, and I'm a data-driven person, that there is not good data on that, and that also shows how the world has not yet really sort of grasped all that it needs to know so that we can solve these things. But at least we know enough. The third challenge is health, and I already pointed to it, right? It's not only not having enough calories, it's not having the right calories. So when you combine the lack of access to enough food to undernutrition and malnutrition, that number reaches 3 billion people. So that's the extent of the challenge, right? And Juanjo, I don't know, I have the honor of knowing the Puches for decades. They're different, amazing human beings. And Juanjo, I don't know if this is exactly right, but that's the statistics, that malnutrition is now killing and affecting more people than sex-related, alcohol-related, drug-related, and tobacco-related diseases combined. So huge. And this comes from a report, the Lancet report. This is a couple of years old. It's really new, is what I'm saying, which is a very comprehensive global report on the challenges of food. Parentheses here, related to health, related to other things, related to, I love to eat, and my look should tell you that. But this is important on different dimensions, including health. We derive 75% of our food from 5 animals and 12 crops. And that has a number of implications. And we'll talk about climate change in a second. That also is related to that. But it's also related to culture, right? We've lost our touch with some of our local cuisine all around the world. Some, the Peruvian cuisine, the Mexican cuisine, the Thai cuisine, like, have become world-known and globally popular. But we're losing a lot of our local, recipes. At Earth, we're working with women producing maíz pujahua. It's a purple corn in the northern part of Costa Rica, in Guanacaste. And we had to actually publish a recipe book, literally, interviewing all ladies from communities so that we can start remembering how did we use that purple corn before it was replaced by a more global species. So an important part of both health, culture, and sustainability. And the fourth is climate change. And I don't need to say more, and I'm glad that Noelia can promise these 2 days of great weather, and I don't need to tell you that. But what I need to remind you is that not only agriculture and food production in general is the food production, including the food system, including transportation, including everything in bringing food to your plates, to our plates, is not only the second largest, driver of climate change, but it's the largest or the human activity most affected by it, right? I mean, and I know you know this because, of course, coffee and all food have already been impacted by this for decades. This is not new. And what we're doing so far is adapting by moving crops further south, further north, further high. But of course, we'll run out of planet in either direction. Geographically, we have the poles. Height-wise, we can plant coffee on the Everest in 50 years, but then that's it. We don't have anything higher than the Everest, right? And so at Earth, by the way, we're producing coffee. And Andres, where are you? But one of our graduates is here, and he tasted it. He works for a roaster in California, and he tasted it, and it wasn't bad. We are at 40 meters above sea level. And the reason for it is we need to prepare. We need to prepare for how are we going to grow, in this case coffee, but everything over the next 50 to 100 years. And we need a lot of research on that. And these are wheat, rice, corn, and soybeans, all of them affected by the things that climate change have brought. So that's the picture. Again, it doesn't mean to be, this is terrible. It's tough, but it's what it is. It is what it is. Now, are we doing something? What can we do? We are doing, and that's, honestly, any optimism I have, and I have some, comes from this renewed and for the first time global effort to tackle these things. So in 2015, as you probably know, the Sustainable Development Goals, one of them, goal number 2, goal number 1 was zero poverty, goal number 2 was zero hunger. They are both related, as we saw. So zero hunger already put as a target for 2030 that, we will have food with some components. I'm not going to go into all of them, but this makes sense once you look at them, right? Looking at small producers, there you are, Andres. The coffee was good, right? Just saying, because it's sea level. And again, the point is not that tomorrow we'll have mass production of that. The point is to adapt. So you see malnutrition, small-scale producers, important, sustainable production, and the genetics of it. This is 2015. Last year, we had, if you follow the news around this, we had the first ever, for the first time in our human history, we came together last year for the first time to say, what are we going to eat in the next, let's say, century, or for the future, given all we know, right? When we were a smaller number of humans on the planet, it was easier. But at this scale, it's hard, it's challenging. And for the first time ever last year, we got together. We came with an agenda that is very similar to the SDG 2 components, right? Very much the same. Important. Resilience is a big one, right? And we were in the middle of the pandemic when this happened. Actually, the connection with pandemics became also very, very clear. And not only UN, these two are UN-led. This is a private effort by the EAT. EAT is an organization, and the EAT Lancet is a big medical organization in the UK, and they came with this report that said what we know, right? Which is we need to eat from this planet. Maybe Elon Musk will go to Mars, and someone on my board said, humanity will be saved because we'll go and migrate to Mars. We'll survive, but not the 8 billion of us, right? And so, I'll be very personal here, but probably our kids will be fine. But I'm not sure. My kids are privileged. They're both studying college. The two oldest are studying college in the U.S. My younger is still in school here. They live a life of privilege, and they have opportunities. But in a society where there is more hunger than this, I don't think they will be fine. And I see very wealthy people around the world, having private security, having, building houses with walls around us because, we need to protect from other humans. I don't think the world would be nice unless we do something about this, right? And we have this one planet. So some will go to Mars, fine. So the species might be saved, but not all of us individuals in the species. They added one thing that was important, like waste, and you know this, right? But waste is a big thing in the food systems when you see it as a system, and it's a big thing in your P&Ls, right? I mean, it's a big thing in the money we can make, in the resources we can save, but it's a big thing in the system as well, right? So let me share with you quickly, because also you're coming to Costa Rica, and for the Costa Ricans, for you to be proud of an institution that this country with the U.S. government created in the 1980s. Let me share with you quickly our take. So this is what we think we need. Nothing surprising. We need food, healthy food, decent food, food that provides livelihoods for producers, to change that irony, that injustice. We need new production models. We need new strategies, if you will. We need food awareness so that we can choose our diets better. And you are the masters of that, right? I mean, specialty coffees are, by definition, an extraordinary case of success. You've done this. We need to do that for everything. That's what we need to do. So that people know that what they're having is healthy, is well-produced, is good for people, good for the environment in terms of having this planet provide enough food for us in the future. The cultural part, I care. I think we should. I had a really, really nice meal the other day with someone talking about this, and I'm like, I think we should all eat nicely, right? I mean, don't quote me, and if you're recording, please don't share this next 10 seconds, but I've been in a number of sustainable food for over the past 5 years, And let me tell you, what you eat there, which is sustainable, I was in Stockholm a few years ago. I had to run on the third day. I need to eat something nice. So I flee, and I went to a Thai restaurant in Stockholm that had somebody recommended to me, and I go like, oh my God, this is food. We need to make it delicious. Why not? So all that while providing, again, livelihoods, decent livelihood for producers. Now, this is our take. We were founded to train leaders for this. We opened doors 32 years ago. Super welcome to visit. We're on the other side of the country, in the Caribbean side. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have taken you already, far from here right now. But we have had, more than 2,600 graduates at this point. They live in 70 countries. They come from 50 countries. This is Latin America and Africa, the Caribbean and Africa. They're amazing. That's another story. I won't go into that now. But this is our concern, because in the world, there's about 570 million small farms, and they produce about half the food. Of course, the large farms count too, but this is where the challenge is, because these are people without the resources. These are people living in poverty. These are people who many times they themselves don't have enough food every day, right? And they need to change. They need to change if we are to have these sustainable food systems, right? 570 million farms, 40 million small fishing operations, and 20 million small aquaculture operations. So that's the scale of the challenge. We've graduated 2,600. Clear mismatch. And I don't see the world is really, we haven't figured out how to do that, honestly. This is not official. This is our take on what needs to happen so that we can change this. And we are focused on these two things. Leaders, the education of leaders, and the evolution of solutions. There are many solutions out there. Technology holds promise, without a doubt. But technology is not a solution. Solution is when you take a technology and put it to use. Somebody is using it in an effective way. And we need more than 600 million, many living in poverty, to take on these solutions and change over the next few decades. Because climate change, if you don't believe in it, everyone believes in it. If you don't think it's that urgent, another conversation. But if you're clear on where the path that we're going on right now, we need to do something before 2050-ish. It's not exact date, it's arbitrary. But it's a curve in the road. If we don't take it, it's not going to be nice. And as my friend said, we're not going to disappear, but a few billion will. And it's not going to be nice for the ones who don't disappear either, right? And so we need to do something. And I think we can. We're already started. Again, you are the proof that it can be done, because you have positioned specialty coffee as something that can be paid for at a different price level, not because of arbitrary reasons, but because it's enjoyed, because it's appreciated as such, because you take care of everything in the food system, all the way to the producer. We worked 15 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was at Incae, with Nespresso. Actually, as part of that, George Clooney, who was the face for Nespresso, came to campus. Our female students were super happy with it, because they were looking all the way through the value chain. That's smart, right? But much more needs to be done. And we need a systems approach. I won't go into detail, but this system is critical. It's not an agricultural issue. It's a business issue. It's an agricultural issue. It's a technology issue. It's a social issue. Our farmers, small farmers, they need scale, they need organization, they need social capital. Sometimes they do. In Costa Rica, this is an extraordinary country. So here you find much higher levels of social capital. We're right now working in Guatemala, not the same case. Not the same case. You need to help that. If you want the success of the food systems, you need, some human systems in place first. So this is our commitment that I'm sharing, because I think we all need to make a commitment like that. And our commitment is that by 2050, the university will, with many others, because there's nothing we can do, we're tiny, but even bigger universities we're now working with. We're working with UC Davis, 40,000 students. Almost 100 times as bigger than us. They alone cannot do anything, cannot do enough. So partnering with many people, we are committed to creating a global movement of leaders that will change that. How? We're not sure. What we know is that our graduates, like Andros, and I'm putting you on the spot here, they are really better prepared than many, or than everyone, perhaps. And so that's our commitment. And our commitment, which again, we're not, this is fresh off the press. So our boards approved this like 3 weeks ago. Andrew sits on our boards too. And this is for us what it means. It means that our impact was great and was growing. So no doubt there. And I'm sure I know your impact is positive, it's great, and it's growing, right? Although I was looking at statistics and, exports, whatever. But, we're making progress. The point is we're not making enough progress, right? So we need, and we call it Earthshot, and I know the brand is branded by someone else in the world, but we're called Earthshot since the 80s, so we have the rights to the name as well. So our organic growth is the blue line. What we decided was that we need the orange. And so my message and my last point to you today is like, what would be that for coffee? What would be the coffee shot for 2050, right? Again, you use Intercafe, you use specialty coffees, you have done it already. The question is what else? Because I was looking at data, right? And what was it? 125 million families around the world working coffee. Different. Here, for instance, there are people growing coffee, but there are many people picking coffee, right? Especially the best beans, etc., right? But then when you add others, I saw once that said something like 800 million people of the world depend fully or partially, their livelihoods depend on coffee. So interesting leverage, right? So what will be the coffee shop? So that's really my message. This is what we're facing. We all here live in a world of privilege, and I'm happy for all of us. I'm not going to lie. What I really aspire to, or what we would like to see, is that everyone on the planet has access to a decent livelihood, and then up. The upside I don't care too much is that the ones in the most vulnerable position can have a decent living, and many of them produce food. So with this, I want to share with you a 4-minute video about Earth, and the reason why I share that is because the institution I lead, one that I didn't build it, so I can be really proud of what was built. And I am committed to keeping it. But also because it's in Costa Rica. So for those of you visiting us, it's also another part of a country that has embraced immigration over the years, that has embraced diversity, that has been thinking globally. And again, I'm not Costa Rican. That was my disclosure at the beginning. So not something I'm proud of. I didn't build it. I'm not Costa Rican. But it's amazing that a small country can have that disproportionate global presence and influence as Costa Rica has learned to do. And that gives us not only hope, that gives us something to think about, right? I mean, what can we do? Coffee is not small, coffee is big. Yeah, but it's not the whole food systems. But a lot can be done because we all need, a big part, like about half of the world need a good cup of Joe in the morning. More than Joe, a good cup of really, really good coffee like you find in events like this. So let me share with you that video as in closing, please. There was a video, I swear. No, I'm sure it's coming. I didn't show you the last slide, one that only read, thanks. And it was one of our graduates, Respect, a guy from Zimbabwe. And, not to advertise too much, but we need what you do. We need entrepreneurs. Yeah, the last one is this. This is Respect on campus. Yeah, we eat those, right? I mean, but we have way more than agriculture. It's really food systems have always been. Thank you.
What is happening in this world right now has been urgent since decades.
The classroom for our students is not a building. The classroom for our students is the forest, the fields.
I went to Earth University when I was 23. It gave me the tools to understand the life as a whole ecosystem. What you do have an impact somewhere to someone.
This is more than a university. This is a dream.
Earth University was founded to prepare a new model of higher education. It was established in Costa Rica at the end of the 80s as a ways to counter the civil wars, poverty, social conflict that was generalized in the region. The idea was to prepare a professional that is technically sound with training in agricultural sciences, in food processing, in renewable energy, but that also has a mission of preparing communities with a sustainable way of doing everything.
We have 10 students for one professor. We go to the different countries where our candidates apply. We interview them, not once, but twice. And some of those students don't have the opportunity to go to their universities in their countries, but they are here.
We have 50% of our students on full scholarship, 30% of our students have financial support of some kind, and then about 20% can pay tuition. And so we bring a sample of society into campus. We put them together. We let them live as peers. They prepare fields, they plant, they grow, but also they sell products. They put together small companies while they're here.
Most of the universities, they are focusing on knowledge, the technical information. But we want our kids to go outside and not ask for a job, but create jobs.
Every student comes here with the aspiration to change something. So when they go out of Earth, our graduates go to try to change that thing that brought them here in the first place.
In Earth University, we open our minds, open our world. We take care of the environment, of the natural resources, about people, about culture.
When I came here, I don't know anything about agriculture. And now I am like, oh my God, there's too much knowledge. And I have 2 years more. When I graduate, I want to share that knowledge with all my community.
I want to become a food scientist to know more about food wastage, food safety, and how we can have even distribution of food. There are so many people involved in building a sustainable future. Earth has given me that kind of consciousness.
There are a lot of countries where now people are suffering for hunger or they don't have water. So we need to know more about agriculture. I want to help my community have my own farm and be able to make a change, even if it's a little, but I want to make this change.
It's not that you graduate and you see you, farewell, bye-bye. They teach us how to be in a world, developing the world, but in balance with nature, respecting respecting people. Everything comes from nature. Ecuador is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. Conservating this, it's a good business for the world, for the entrepreneur, for the people.
Earth students have that DNA, that grassroots experience, human experience, that will forever mark their decisions and their policies. Policymakers around the world lack that. Many times they are in boardrooms or cabinet meetings, and they either forgot or never really understood what change means on the ground.
We prepare leaders, that they can go out and help this society to be a better society. That's what we are doing.
Earth University is hope. There are 400 students waiting to go out to the world to make the change.
Here.